Does it seem you never have enough time to get organized? Are you having difficulties motivating yourself to declutter? Are you overwhelmed by the need to declutter and get organized? Even when you try, do you find you can't stay organized? Hello, my name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, and welcome to Your Money, Your Life. In this segment, I have a great guest. She is Laura Moore, a graduate of the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Laura is a professional organizer and owner of Clutter Clarity in Concord, Massachusetts. As a professional organizer, Laura fine-tunes her exceptional teaching and organizing skills to create a unique approach to help people unravel the mess in their homes, calendars, and lives. Laura, welcome to Your Money, Your Life. It's great to have you on the program.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Now, you run this company, Clutter Clarity.
That's right.
What does the company do?
Well, it's changed over time, actually, responding to the market. But what I do is I help people actually learn how to enjoy the process of decluttering and organizing.
Enjoy?
Enjoy.
People
it's
actually
possible.
enjoy that?
Yeah, they do, relatively soon. They don't believe me in the beginning.
Okay.
But I teach them how to trust their decision making so that there's no sense of loss in letting go of things, and they actually learn how to organize only what they keep. But through practice, they actually realize by example that they know and can do this.
Now the name I'm sorry, go ahead.
So what I do is I help people declutter, organize, sometimes redesign their furniture and their homes, and I'll also help people move. But basically, I'm a consultant who teaches people how to enjoy decluttering and organizing, really taking care of their home.
What do you mean by clutter? I mean,
well, that's a really good question.
One person's clutter may not be somebody else's.
That's right. So it really centers on the person. It's not about the stuff. It's really about how does this person think, what's important to them, the unique layout of their home, their unique lifestyle, etc. And your stuff becomes clutter as your life changes, okay, or your interests change. And so what comes into the home may be perfectly appropriate to that particular lifestyle, and as you age, then it's no longer appropriate. Like when you have 5 pairs of skis down in the basement, but you're no longer skiing. It was once a jewel to be able to go out and ski, but it now is clutter.
Let me present you with a scenario.
Okay.
I have a client who he and his wife live in Winchester, and they have in the attic of their home all kinds of papers that their children had written when they were in high school and in college.
Yeah.
And they just can't part with that, and they have it all up in the attic. Is that clutter?
Well, it could very well be clutter. It's more complicated than that. The good news is that all those papers aren't in their living room and office.
Okay.
Okay, because they represent a past. That category of clutter is really memorabilia. To decide, you can have all the memorabilia you want, but does it fit into the square footage of your home? Okay, so right now, having those papers up in their attic is really not getting in their way yet. And clutter, by definition, stuff becomes clutter when it actually starts making you feel bad. And it's literally not in their way physically enough to make them feel bad or to remember to take care of it. But if the couple actually, every time they think of that clutter or they think of those papers and they feel bad because it's not organized, then it's becoming clutter.
Let me present you with a different scenario. A former client of mine lived in a very large house, was fully furnished, was a 5-bedroom house, downsized to a townhouse that was 2 bedrooms, and insisted on moving a 5-bedroom house worth of furniture into a 2-bedroom condominium. Obviously it didn't all fit, sold some of it, but fit as much as she could.
Right.
Is that clutter?
If she's uncomfortable in her home, it's clutter. But if one person's discomfort is not another person's discomfort. If it's literally getting in her way, like she has to climb over the furniture or climb through the boxes, then it really is clutter. But she has to reach a certain threshold of being just uncomfortable. It's like, actually, I'll go back to your other example. This woman I'm working with just this week, actually the house is in really, really good shape. There's actually little clutter in it, but she is worried about her children's artwork. And it's actually, relatively compared to what I see, a relatively small amount. But it made her feel bad because it wasn't organized sequentially by year. Okay, so it was in her way because every time she thought about it, it was emotionally just upsetting to her that she wasn't taking good care of her home. Clutter becomes a definition, its meaning becomes bigger than the actual object itself. So when you downsize to a 2-bedroom condo and there's too much in it for you or me, but that person is still comfortable, she's okay.
She's okay. All right. You mentioned the term emotion.
Yes, it's all emotional.
I was just going to say, is a lot of this emotional? And you, as a decluttering expert, how do you deal with that emotion?
It's actually what I'm dealing with all the time. It's very, has very little to do with the object per se. In truth, only about 20% of our stuff is hard to decide what to do with, you know, but we focus on the 20% and it becomes very big. So I pay attention to the person and how are they making sense. The clutter or the stuff in our houses actually makes sense. There's a certain pattern of thinking, a certain pattern of behavior, and a certain pattern of feeling. So a confluence of factors happen. Like, for example, I'm working with somebody just today who was very angry that she had to make dinner every day and take care of her family. And part of the issue is that she made a meal making so large that it disturbed her. And we simplified the whole process. And she's now making, she has a repertoire of 15 meals, and all of a sudden she's feeling capable. Another person is feeling, they don't want to go through, this was actually said to me, it's a quote, that they didn't want to go through their papers because it was stupid and irrelevant to her life. And she thought it was beneath her. And I said, well, you have to take care of your papers or you have to hire somebody to take care of them for you. But a lot of it has to do with self-worth. I work with a lot of women who live, work in their homes. They don't work outside of the homes, and they feel less than valuable in their home. And so they think that puttering through their closets is sort of a waste of time, decluttering a waste of time. It's really that they feel not valuing who they are and the integrity of the family.
Can we talk for a moment about downsizing?
Yes, please. That's frequent.
All right. So let me again create a scenario. Let's say we have a husband and a wife couple, and they've had a home and they raised their children in the home. The children have left the nest, but they've left some stuff behind. And then the parents have their stuff on top of that, right?
Right.
And it's time to downsize. You know, the wife is saying, you know, I can't manage this house. It's much too big. Husband agrees and says, you know, you're right. And so they either move to a condominium or to a smaller house, or maybe even to assisted living.
Right.
But they have a difficult time downsizing their stuff.
Right.
How do you help them?
Well, it's all about the decision-making process. And actually, when you have the right criteria, it's very easy, most of the time, to decide, well, this is clutter and this is not. And you really need, there's 4 criteria. Do you love it now? Not like a lot, but you really love it now. And does it fit into the square footage of where you're moving? And if you keep this, what are you willing to let go in order to make room? Does it fit into your current lifestyle? Is another one. And does it actually fit who you are? I mean, this really...
What's that mean? Does it
well,
fitting who you are, what's that mean?
Again, it's a lifestyle question. Like, I love collecting art, but I only have so much wall space.
Right.
And so I finally came to the place where, well, Laura, if you're going to bring one more painting in, you have to let go of one. And the only reason to do that is not because it's a rule, it's a guideline. What I make more important than anything else is how I feel from moment to moment. And if I brought in one more painting to deal with, I would start feeling closed in my own home. So all of this has to do with monitoring how I'm feeling about it. And so most people are looking for rules outside of them or books outside of them. And honestly, there's a million tips out there, but when you start trusting your own decision making, it's actually very easy to let go. There's no loss, there's actually liberty.
Clients I've dealt with all have had a very difficult time letting go, so to speak.
Right. So what that is a clash of priorities, more often than not. Let me give you an example.
Sure,
I worked with somebody, actually moved them to North Andover from Manchester. And they were comfortable family, not very wealthy. Husband and wife. The wife had just come out of rehab. The husband was older and very convinced. He wanted to save the environment more than he wanted to move. But the daughter called me, very, very frustrated, close to tears, saying, I can't get my parents to move out. She hired me to come in and talk to her parents about what's most important to them. Now, the daughter was paying for my services and the continued care community that the parents were moving into, so there was no financial barrier. There was just, I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And the daughter was putting so much pressure on the parents that the parents were pushing pressure on me. And basically, it was a log jam. And I had to go to the daughter and said, you need to back off for about a month and let me talk to your parents while we were doing the physical work, by the way. Mm-hmm. And so instead of feeling resentment and have to and I don't want to, I shifted how they're thinking about it so they actually felt like going forward in their life in this new place. Instead of resenting the move, they actually started saying, wow, this isn't so bad after all. And I literally talked to them. I said, you know, you're actually moving into a place that is better than almost anywhere in the whole world has to offer. And you're actually fortunate. And let's have, instead of grief, let's turn it into gratitude. Okay, so with 1 month of repetition and communicating, we did a floor plan, we went through the whole process, and they could see for themselves what was going to fit or not. The hard part was he had about 3,000 books in the basement. He was a professor. His whole identity was connected to this clutter. And I talked to him, I usually work with people for 3 to 6 months at a time. So I'm with them, I'm in their home, they learn to trust me. Well, gradually, I have a team of 20 people that work around me, and I found a bookseller, a book buyer, who fortunately my client knew, and I brought him in and the client was prepared to let him go through the whole library, and he picked the books and he wrote my client a $2,000 check. It helps letting go, but it took him 3 weeks to really shake it off, because what he did is had to let go of his past. It wasn't about the books at all. Right. His ego, his importance, his self-worth. Right. And then he liked the $2,000 check. He went to his second home and put in a new bathroom.
My mother was an associate professor, and she also had a very large book collection. And she was unwilling to part with that book collection until such time that I presented her with the possibility of donating the books and then taking a significant tax deduction.
Right, that always helps, doesn't it?
It did. She made the donation.
Most people,
when she saw how much the deduction was.
Right, exactly. Most people that I work with actually make money in some way or another.
Sure.
They either save money or literally make money.
And that works with all types of collectibles, not just books, right?
Right.
Any type of collection, yeah.
Right, exactly. And there's a distinction between a collection, excessive accumulation, and hoarding. One thing I would like to say is that we need to stop referring to each other as hoarders. Or a mother referred to her 12-year-old as a hoarder. And I'm like, oh my God, let's set up a really, you want to put some money in for some therapy here? I mean, really. People don't understand what hoarding is.
It's an overused term, isn't it?
Very overused. Yeah. I mean, there's 4 levels of hoarding, and what you see on television is there's a mental illness involved in that. Most of us are just like our stuff and busy with our life and too busy to take care of the stuff that we have.
I want to go back to the scenario that you just finished sharing with us. You mentioned that the mother and father were going into a continuing care facility, and the daughter was paying your fee.
Yes.
I'm going to ask a very technical question, and that is, who's the client, the daughter or the parents?
Very good question. It was the daughter.
The daughter's the client.
That's right.
Okay.
But when I'm with the parents are the client.
Oh, well, okay, wait a minute. How does that work? They're all your clients?
Well, actually, this has been a wonderful part of my work right now, is that I actually work with the family as a whole. Okay. The daughter is my client because she's paying my fee.
Right.
And, but I have to relate to her parents as if they're my client. And I actually do really like my clients. I only work with 40% of the people who actually call me. Okay. And if it's a good fit, it's a beautiful experience for all of us. It really is possible to enjoy this process. Okay. Can I give you another example?
Please do.
This wonderful woman named Alice, I've been working with her for 3 years, going on 3 years now. But different, it's not the same. When she called me, she checked me out, I was doing workshops. She let me into her home, and fast forward, I was working with her for 2 4-hour sessions for 3 months. We got 2,000 pounds of stuff out of her house. She was in trouble, okay? If we were all so happy as this woman though, God, she really set a great example. The problem is that she likes to go have fun doing other things. She had multiple interests, and her husband had died, so there was no check and balance on her accumulation anymore. She was not a hoarder, but the house was full. And so now, then we went shopping and we redesigned each room, and we replaced all the carpets and replaced all the windows and cleaned up the roof. And now I'm helping her, actually as of last month, I've been working with her to rewrite her will. She hated the whole idea. We got her an attorney, she had a financial planner, and each week for 2 hours instead of the 8 hours, we sat down and said, what do we need to do next to get this done? And she agreed with me that it will get done before her 80th birthday, and her whole family was coming to celebrate.
Oh, wow.
It was really
nice.
wonderful.
Yeah,
We
that's
got
nice.
it done, and what made it possible is that over the big envelopes that attorneys, you know about this, give you, instead of saying will and legal papers, I wrote an act of love.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Very
so
nice.
all of a sudden it became taking care of her family, and I knew how much she loved her children.
You know, actually, I always try to explain to my clients that when you prepare these legal papers, that's actually a gift to your family.
Right, exactly.
That's what it is. You know?
Exactly, but still you got to get to doing it. And
You
she
do,
was
and you have to deal with you know, trying to determine what your goals are and how you want
Right.
things done, and people sometimes don't want to look ahead like
Right.
that. But if
Right.
you do it, it's a real gift to your
And
family.
she's a very healthy woman. But part of it has to do false expectations, or you know, like we have to get this done really fast is one of the big mistakes that happen. No, you need to slow down and think what's best for you. People think there's something wrong with you, that you have to be born a certain way to be able to be organized. I said, no, if you're willing to learn, it's possible to improve your situation. Now with this woman, Alice, for example, there was no way she was ever going to take care of her papers on her own. But that means, therefore, it's her responsibility to create an environment where they are still taken care of. You can't abandon the papers.
Well, that leads me into another question, and it is when you help somebody declutter and organize,
Yeah.
how do you know it's going to stay organized?
That's a really good question, too, because nobody... Well, you know, I do have a... I can come back seasonally.
You can come back seasonally?
People do hire me to come back every 4 months.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Really?
just as a check and balance. No, it's not the intense, you know, there's an intervention, maintenance, and prevention. At that point, you're in a prevention program. But I have a 3 to 6 month customized program where people work with me on a steady basis, and their goal is not to just organize their office or organize their closet. Their goal is to achieve sustainable relief from having too much in their life. They're sick of being overwhelmed, they're sick of being tired, they're sick of being stressed out. So much of that work has to do with organizing their relationship to time.
Oh, okay.
Okay? That there's nothing that puts more pressure on this work than an unrealistic expectation of time and that rush.
Well, is it a matter that people don't have the time to organize, or is it that they find organizing to be a daunting task and they kind of walk away from it?
Both.
Both?
We all have time. We all have 24 hours.
That's true. We all have the same
Okay?
time, yeah.
We all have the same amount of time. That flippant comment gets us into trouble. The truth of the matter is we don't have our priorities clear. If you don't have time, you don't have a clear priorities. So if you make instead of organizing my papers, if you make taking care of my home more important, all of a sudden you're a little more, not all of a sudden, gradually, you're more motivated. It becomes more important. So you have the intention to take care of your papers. You have to make it important, enough to make it a priority, to be able to schedule the time. And it's not until those 4 things happen that you even have half a chance to keep on coming back and taking care of it. And people are in such a hurry to just get it over with that they skip all the getting ready part. It's like trying to run a race. Get ready, get set, and go. If you just went out the gate and started running a 5,000 whatever meter,
yeah.
you're likely to break an ankle, aren't you?
Well,
if you don't get ready.
Not necessarily, if you work up to it.
Right, that's the getting ready.
Yeah.
Get set and go. Most people just go, they want to attack their clutter, they want to bury their clutter, they want to kill their clutter.
Okay.
I say, look, life is hard enough. Let's just be with your clutter and learn how to make good decisions.
Now, you know, there are other companies out there that help people to downsize and move.
That's
what
right.
differentiates you and your company from those others?
Me.
Well, tell me a little about you then.
You know, again, you don't want to call, I'm not the person to call if you have to move in 2 weeks, okay? Because usually my schedule's full, if nothing else. But if you actually want to take the next few months to move out of your home with relative ease and comfort and distribute the clutter, I can go through that whole process in a way that I remove all the emotional and logistical barriers. You know, in that case, I'm not necessarily teaching you how to do it forever. It's like I show them how to go through the process comfortably. Now, I often am doing it for them, but I can't declutter for them. I can organize for them. You declutter. Decluttering is the first step of getting organized. Your often ignored first step of getting organized. You declutter and you only organize what you decide to keep.
There are different ways to organize documents.
That's right.
You can take paper documents and you can organize them in folders or 3-ring binders, that kind of thing. But, you know, given the technology today, you can also take those documents, you can scan them, put them into some sort of software. What do you prefer when it comes to organizing documents?
Me personally?
Yeah. Well, as a declutterer or organizer, what do you recommend?
Well, there's no one way of doing it. It depends on the person, again, okay? Now, everyone says, I can scan these. That's really great. And so then the pile grows. Oh, I'm going to scan these someday. I'm going to scan these someday.
I'll get to it someday.
Right.
Okay.
So we go
there's
back
always tomorrow,
to,
right?
Right, there's always tomorrow. So we get back to, it's not about the pile, it's about the priorities.
So maybe the scanner's not such a good idea.
It is, if you make it a priority and do it.
Well, if you keep up with it, yeah. But of course, it's the same thing with the 3-ring binder. You can always put it aside and say, I'll get to putting them in a 3-ring binder.
You know, people keep on saying, I want a system. And I said, I can create you a beautiful system, but what we really need to do is help you stay motivated in taking care of the system. And one of the biggest parts of this work is to surrender that part of being alive is to take care of our things on a daily basis. And if you can't do it, then you hire somebody to help you. One part of my business that it has expanded much more than I thought would be is when I work with people and they really don't have the time. No time management skills is going to make a difference. You know, people who are really over busy. And so I bring in an administrative assistant, a dog walker, a babysitter, a financial planner, a therapist.
Oh, so you have a network of people.
That's right.
And you bring them all in. That's great.
That's right.
That's really
there's
great.
about 20 people, and appraisers and movers and schleppers. We all need men with big muscles on a truck.
Yeah.
So whatever you need, I can get it done. But how you go to the process really depends on that unique person in front of me.
Right.
And that's really fun.
Yeah. And it's great that you have that network of people.
Well, I too am dependent on other people. I don't accomplish as much as I do during the day or the week without help, which is actually one of the biggest barriers to decluttering, is that women think that they should already know how to do this, and it's not a simple task. It's very emotional.
So let's talk a little bit about a book that you're writing. As I have it, it's Your Mess, but Not All Your Fault. What's up with that title? What do you mean by that?
Everyone's terribly relieved. They go, oh, phew. It is your mess. It's your responsibility, but it's more complicated than something being wrong with you. Most people think that there's something wrong with them if they can't get the closet to stay organized. And it's really not that. It's like there's a whole sequence of things that need to happen before you get near that closet. You know, like, again, what I was talking about, time management, priorities. There are tips, there are strategies, but you can't do a perfect strategy until you've cleaned up how you're thinking about it, so you feel better, so you can stay motivated and even want to do it.
So is that what your book is all about?
So the book it's a new paradigm about how to approach organizing. The professional organizers in the media have done a disservice to the public where they focus so much on the beautiful room and the perfect container that it's distorted. And so people go and buy these things. By the way, I've only been to the Container Store 3 times in 10 years. Because if you declutter, you actually empty those containers and you can use them for the things you keep. So this book is going to actually is a lot of fun to create because it's going to be a graphic teaching tool about how to stay out of overwhelm, how to decide what clutter is and what is not, how to get cooperation from your family members, how to take good care of yourself, and how to move through time. So whatever you want to do, you can do it with greater ease and comfort. And that's the foundation of Clutter Clarity, is that it's possible to enjoy your daily life if you take good care of yourself and approach it in a whole new way.
I like that. That's a very nice approach.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers how to get a hold of you.
There's my website, clutterclarity.com.
Okay.
Go there. You can email me directly. That's the best way. And I do offer a half-an-hour free consultation to anyone who calls me. Either whether you just have a question that you want to get unstuck, or whether you actually want to inquire about our working together.
Having too much stuff is a common complaint. A lifetime of possessions may result in overwhelming clutter, leaving people unable to begin the organizing process. Moreover, a cluttered physical environment is possibly a barrier to safety and longevity. It isn't uncommon that people struggle when trying to downsize and organize in order to simplify their lives. However, getting rid of one's stuff can be fraught with emotion. If the emotional toll becomes too much, it may be time to bring in an objective third party, such as my guest, Laura Moore, to help with the decluttering process. As a professional organizer, she's trained to move the process along efficiently and effectively. At Clutter Clarity, Laura Moore offers more than organizing tips or a job well done. With Laura, you get a guarantee. Clutter Clarity guarantees that you not only get it all done, but you get sustainable relief from the stress of decluttering and organizing your home. And what you learn from Laura, you get to keep forever. In closing, thanks to my guest, Laura Moore. Thank you for being on the program. And as always, thank you to you, our viewers, for watching Your Money, Your Life. My name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, Building Your Trust.